All right. Hello, everybody. I hope this is working this time. I apologize about the yet again extreme delay. And I thank you again for your patience as I get through these 2 weeks. We'll be over as of tomorrow, and I am very excited to kind of get back on track and back on schedule. So we have a couple of things or I'm going to do a couple of things tonight to get you guys into a good place. Um, I am going to review a couple of the different assignments. Some of you have already started the IEP goal writing assignment, and that's fine. No one started the activity 3 and 4 yet. Let me actually edit those now. Sorry, the chapter 3 and 4 activity, which are activity 5 and 6, which is correct. So I'm going to go over those a little bit. I'm going to go over the midterm, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about goal writing. So let me actually switch over to Moodle really quick. All right, so let's go through the assignments really quickly and get you guys all set with that. So IEP stuff or goal writing, I'm going to go over tonight. If you have any additional questions after you've watched the lecture tonight, go ahead and let me know, and I will be happy to help you with that. This is a not a tougher assignment. It's a pretty straightforward assignment. However, it's a skill that takes a lot of time and practice to get used to, and is largely dependent on where you end up getting a job and how they write IEP goals. I try to teach it from the conceptual standpoint of how I like to write IEP goals, which is not always what you end up seeing in the district, but it gives you a good background. All right. So the week 4 activities, which, as I had mentioned earlier, you're going to do somewhat on your, or not on your own, but I'm not going to be lecturing on them so specifically, is going to be to read chapter 3 and chapter 4, which are your kind of summary chapters on high incidence disabilities. And you're going to be picking one disability or one label that I want you to be able to understand in a little bit more depth. So activity 5 and 6, the chapter 3 and chapter 4 activities are basically identical. You're going to review what the chapter says. You can do a little bit of research beyond what the chapter says, but you are going to summarize one of those disabilities, one each for high incidence and low incidence. And in that summary, I want you to briefly discuss, it doesn't need to be in great detail, but with specifics to the disability, you want to discuss academic, behavioral, and social deficits that are commonly associated. I don't want to say always, but commonly associated with those disabilities. And you want to also discuss one educational intervention that has been shown to be effective for those disabilities. So if I am choosing I'll pick the one that I'm most familiar and comfortable with. If I'm discussing autism, autism can be characterized by academic delays when it comes to synthesizing more complex skills. Children with autism oftentimes have an easier time learning discrete skills, but synthesizing more complex skills can be very, very challenging. Behavioral, we often see a lack of control of certain behaviors. So those might be what we call stereotypic behaviors. That could be like hand flapping or making audible sounds that are non-functional. Social deficits, children with autism might have trouble making eye contact, forming relationships, so on and so forth. And one educational intervention that is associated with or has been shown to be effective for students with autism is applied behavior analysis. And that's a bigger bigger field than a singular educational intervention. A singular educational intervention might be token systems or positive reinforcement. For a reading disability, it could be a specific reading curriculum. So whatever you come across, whether it's from your book or from additional resources, that is what we are looking for. So a simple paragraph will do it. But make sure to discuss all three: academic, behavioral, and social deficits, as well as that one educational intervention. So that is going to be what we do for activity 5 and 6. Goal writing is tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the midterm, which is hidden as of now. Okay, so today is June 24th as I am recording this. I am going to plan on opening up the midterm next Tuesday. So there will not be class, which I think is what we have. Nope, not on there. We will not have class on the 29th. I will open up the midterm on the 29th. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I don't like that. No, I'm going to open it up on the 30th. We will meet on the 29th. I will be available for question and answer. That is what I'll do. So the midterm is going to be opened on the 30th. We'll do question and answer and review of anything that we want on the 29th, or anything that you guys want on the 29th during our normal class period. The midterm will open up on the 30th. Part 1 will close, or that's what I will do. I will open it up the evening of the 29th, and I will close it the evening of the 1st. Just because it is open for 2 days does not mean that you have 2 full days to do it. It is going to be on an honor system that you will have completed the initial part of the midterm in an hour and 20 minutes. If there's anything to lead me to believe that you took above and beyond that time, I'll come discuss with you, but please don't. Please make sure that you complete the take-home part or the initial part of the midterm in that hour and 20-minute periods, which is equivalent to what you would have had during the regular semester. Part 2, which is the essay part, I will open up on the evening of the 1st. And you will have over the July 4th weekend to do that. That is a open book, open note, untimed section of the exam. So having a little extra time to do that is going to be okay. I believe I have 4 essays that are in there, and you will be asked to complete 2 of them. There's no page length. There are no specifics other than, answer the question to your fullest ability in a way that you feel covers all of the necessary components of the questions, and you should be in good shape. All right. In terms of content, without giving away too much, the different components that we have spoken about or focused on are going to be the different components of the midterm. So the goals of special education, some of the court stuff, the IEP and RTI process and continuum services, different disabilities. That's what we're looking at. There's nothing in there that is there to trick you. It is kind of the themes of each of the lectures are going to be the components of the midterm that we are looking at. Again, I will hold that review session on Tuesday, the 29th, during our normal class time. So and feel free to send me questions that you would like me to review ahead of time if you don't believe that you're going to be able to make it to class, and I will go ahead and answer those. However, once class is over. So if class is over in the afternoon, I won't open it up until like 6:37 that evening. And you'll have that 48-hour window to open it or to look at it. But once I open the exam, I will not be answering any questions. I will do everything that I can to have all the current assignments graded with feedback prior to opening the exam so that you do have that feedback going into it. All right. You do not, I will say that for the court cases, you do not need to have dates memorized. You do not need to have decisions memorized. You will need to know some of the primary themes or bigger cases, but you don't need to know super detailed specifics about those court cases. This is not a class that is about memorization of those types of things. So review that outline, particularly from Dr. Corwin, but don't worry about all the detailed specifics. Okay, I know that you guys aren't here to ask questions and verify information, so please take advantage of emailing me. If you would like to meet face-to-face, Monday afternoon, I will probably be available. Tuesday morning, maybe Tuesday afternoon. Gets a little bit harder because I do have class from up until 6 o'clock, and that's probably when I'll open the midterm for you. But try and go ahead and schedule things as you can, and we'll do what we can. All right, so let's take a little bit and switch over to goal setting or goal writing. So this is the goal writing PDF that is in week 3. If you look down, there are just like 4 or 5 slides before we get into the classroom management strategies. Classroom management strategies is going to be the first topic of the after the midterm, so that's not going to be a part of the midterm itself. So don't worry about going into that. All right. Okay. So as was reviewed in the previous lectures, the IEP is built upon this idea of the annual goal. Annual goals are the right way to look at annual goals are as the individualized curriculum for our students. So instead of working on the standards and objectives outlined by the state, we are saying that while we're tying things to those objectives, or we're tying our goals to those objectives, the goals that we are working on are the goals that are at the level of the individual student. When you are writing goals, you do want to think about what is going to be attainable in an academic year, again, given the level of your student. So if I have maybe a 3rd grade student who is working on a 2nd grade level in math, maybe I'm working on addition and subtraction facts. For a typical student, it would be appropriate for them to acquire in 1 year all of their addition and subtraction facts between 10 and 20. However, you have a student who is already behind. It might not be reasonable for them to move at that same rate. So maybe we're only working on addition subtraction facts between with its sums from 10 to 15. The challenge here is that we're taking a child who's already behind, and we are almost, I don't want to say intentionally, but setting them up to end the year further behind their grade level peers. So think about that. If I have a student who is a 3rd grader working on 2nd grade math, and I'm only asking them to get through half of 2nd grade math in a full year, I'm getting further behind. And I have to make sure that um, that that the disability and how I'm working with the disability is truly preventing them from moving ahead at a rate commensurate with their peers. So these goals are going to be the goals that kind of given an inability to keep up, what can we achieve? All right. So our goals are going to be goals that are going to be achievable within a year. They are going to have benchmarks that are attainable within 4 to 5 school months, or about halfway through the year. We want to make sure we are working on developmental age goals, not chronological age goals. So if I have a third grader who's working on second grade skills, then I am working on second grade skills. We want to make sure that we work with parents to address social, emotional, and behavioral goals. There are sometimes that parents will say, I'm not worried about the academics. I want, the academics are either going to come or not come. However, the social, emotional, and behavioral components, those are the parts that are, or the areas that are really holding my child back from making societal gains. I use this example a lot. I had a child one year who he was on pace academically, but had a really hard time developing friendships, and that's why he was with us. And the parents, we'd get to the IEP meeting, and they would literally have me skip over the academic goals. I said, no, I have to read them, but we would spend the entire meeting talking about social and behavioral goals in particular. It is possible that your goals are going to be curricular in nature. It's not going to be the case that every child with a disability is years behind academically. You are going to have plenty of students who are on grade level. When that happens, our challenge is to be able to ensure to parents how we are observing and measuring that those goals are being met. It's not always the case that curricula provide the best means of observation and measurement. So or it might be that the curriculum does not provide for a strong enough set of criteria. So we may need to go above and beyond what the curriculum provides in terms of measurement, in terms of opportunities, in order for those goals to be met. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. We just have to communicate that within the goal on the IEP. All right. When we write our goals, we want to write our goals stated positively. Students will, as opposed to students will not. All right. That obviously, or should obviously, seem like it applies more towards that social, emotional, and behavioral section. It's hard to write an academic goal in terms of student will not. However, it's pretty easy to write a goal, a behavioral goal in terms of student will not use inappropriate language in class versus student will speak appropriately to his peers and teachers, right? So when it comes to that behavioral stuff, it's very, very easy to fall into that trap of discussing what the student will not do instead of what the student will do. So once we use that language, we want to be able to specify what the student will be asked to do, in what way will they do it, how often will they do it, and how long will they do it for? And these are really the 4 major components of the IEP goal. So again, what the student will be asked to do, how they will in what way will they do it, or what the response is going to look like, how often will they do it, and how long will they do it for? And those last 2 pieces constitute our criterion measures. A standard in never saying it again, sorry. The a standard, I don't want to say the only way to look at it, but oftentimes in special education we look at like a 90% accuracy across 2 opportunities to present something. That 90% times 2 is something that you see very, very often, both in clinical and educational special education settings, for better or worse, but it's at least a starting point in terms of how often they will do it, 90%, and how long will they do it for, 2 consecutive times. All right, so here is a sample goal. Yeah, 2 sample goals, sorry. I don't know why the coloring is different. And I'm curious what you guys think about this. So, given the student textually responding or reading to text on his mastered level, the instructor vocally asking the student explicit and implicit WH questions about the text, who, what, when, where, why, which, and how, student will independently both write and respond vocally with the correct response with 90% accuracy for 2 sessions. So that's a mouthful, all right? But if I scroll up a little bit, we see our outlines, what the goal should specify. We should see that most of the information that we are looking for is indeed in here. So the order is a little bit off or different, but let's go through this. Given the student textually responding to text on his mastered level and the instructor vocally asking the student explicit and implicit WH questions, so that is all what the student will be asked to do. All right, I'll say it again. Given the student textually responding to text on his mastered level, the instructor vocally asking the student explicit and implicit WH questions about the text. So that is what the student will be given and asked to do. The student will independently both write and respond vocally with the correct response. In what way will they do it? With 90% accuracy, that's the often, how often they will do it, for 2 sessions, how long they will do it for. So while this is a mouthful, this is being very, very specific about what it is that we are looking for the student to do, what we need to give them to ensure that they can do it, and how much of the behavior we really want to see. This is a goal that is kind of appropriately large enough. I can't meet this goal in a day. I can't meet this goal in a month. I'm going to have to give a lot of instruction in order to get there. So I'm not going to start off just, trying to meet this goal, but I might start off with who questions that are explicit and have written or vocal responses. All right, we start there and then we start building up. All right. Another example of this goal is given 50 single-digit addition and subtraction problems whose sums are within 20, students will complete all problems at a rate of 55 correct per minute with less than 3 incorrect per minute for 1 session. So let's break this apart in the same way. We have the given statement. So given 50 single-digit addition and subtraction problems whose sums are within 20, we have what the student will do. They will complete all problems. We have how often will they do it at a rate of 55 correct per minute, and how long will they do it for? For 1 session. All right, so in the same way, I can pull apart this goal, which is now a math goal instead of a reading goal, and be very clear about what it is that we are expecting the student to do. There is one little thing that is missing from this goal, and if you look at the second goal, one of the things that I don't say is specifically in what way will they do it. It's implied, given 50 I don't even know if it's implied, given 50 single-digit addition and subtraction problems whose sums are within 20, how am I giving it to them? Am I giving it to them vocally? Am I giving it to them on a worksheet? What's that going to look like? And more importantly, how are they going to give me the response? Is it going to be vocal? Is it going to be written? Is it going to be a vocal to vocal and a written to written? Is it going to be some combination of those? So I need to be clear about how I expect to see that goal reached. All right. So it's really important that we do specify those types of things. Otherwise, it's going to be unclear that we are actually indeed achieving the goal that we have set out to accomplish. Both of the examples here are examples of long-term goals, or the annual goal that we would have. And in each case, there would be multiple short-term goals or benchmark goals that would allow us to ensure that we're staying on track along the way. So where an annual goal might be this addition problem, a short-term goal or a benchmark goal might be given 25 single-digit addition subtraction problems whose sums are within 20, yada, yada, yada. Might be given 25 single-digit addition subtraction problems whose sums are within 15, yada, yada, yada. It might be the same thing, given 50 whose sums are within 20, we do a rate of 30 correct per minute with less than 5 incorrect per minute. So something that's going to allow us to check off along the way that we have indeed met that goal, or on the way towards meeting that goal. That benchmark allows us to know partway through the year, do we need to put in additional intervention? Do we need to do something different in our instruction? Or are we moving ahead in a way that is appropriate for us? All right. Okay, so, and I think this is, yeah, this is the assignment that we have. Just look, I'll actually clarify this a little bit. So look specifically in, wait, no, never mind. I apologize. Ignore this assignment. Don't use this assignment. Use the assignment that is on Moodle, which I am pulling up now. Hang on. Zoom go. Share the screen. Check. Okay. Sir. All right. So the boxes up here are here to kind of help you diagram your scripted goal. You're going to write four scripted goals that hopefully help you out here. I apologize that we're not doing this in class for practice and then doing this for homework. So I want to hopefully get you guys some good feedback on this. But you will use this diagram to help you. So for example, I could say my goal is for Kevin. The student is going to, I'll try and give something different. Spell 10 CVC words. How will they do it? Vocally. Under what conditions? Given a vocal CVC word, how many times? 9 out of 10 times. For how long? 2 consecutive sessions of 10. So my scripted goal might look something like, given a vocal CVC word, for example, cat. Okay. Kevin will vocally spell, so I should actually say, I'm going to remove this 10 here, spell CVC words. Vocally spell the CVC words with 90% accuracy, 9 out of 10 times, across 2 consecutive sessions. So here I have shown who is doing it, what they are going to be given, what they will do, how many times they're going to do it, and how long they are going to do it for. Now, I would argue that this is not necessarily an appropriate annual goal because they should learn, a child should be able to learn more than 10 CVC words in a year. However, I might be able to make it an annual goal by saying given, so I could say spell common sight words vocally, given a vocal sight word, how many times I want 45 out of 50 on one session by the end of the IEP year. So in this situation, I have a lot of different goals. Those CVC words might fall into a part of that. So in this case, I have given a vocal sight word. I'm not going to give an example. Kevin will vocally spell the word, with 90% accuracy, 45 of 50 words. One time by the end of the IEP year. All right, so with that, I will have all the information that I need for my annual goal. Now, if I'm thinking about short-term goals within that, I could say, given a vocal sight word, exact same thing, Kevin will vocally spell the words with 90% accuracy. Maybe here I have 18 out of 20 sight words, one time by the middle of the IEP year. And we could say January, we could put dates to that, whatever it might be. But this allows me to ensure that I am on the way towards getting this. All right. So the scripted goal is what I will be looking for, but this helps me understand your thought process. All right. So I recommend filling this out. However, the scripted goal is what I am actually looking for when I give you feedback. All right. So that's where we will stop for tonight. Again, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry if this was a little shorter than we were hoping for. Between having to do it again and the long days, this is where we got, but I think it is the right amount of information for you. That being said, do not hesitate to reach out. At some point before next Tuesday, I will hold that question and answer on Tuesday. Hopefully that will be able to serve what you guys need in order to feel set and in good shape for the midterm. All right, that'll be it. And I will talk to you all later. Take care. Bye.